What's good, peeps? Welcome to an Indefatigable Artist. I am your host, Bleace, just a multimedia artist living in the 21st century. Appreciate you listening. A like, comment, and a share goes a long way. A free way to pay it forward. Can always go further at bleace.com and be sure to sign up to our free newsletter. Let's go further together, one step at a time. Episode 10, Infinitely Further. We have hit double-digit episodes now. And how did we do it? One breath at a time. One word at a time. One moment at a time. One step at a time. And this week we celebrated Pi Day, special day for many reasons. Birthday shared with my lifelong inspiration, Albert Einstein. And every year I try to raise awareness of Pi Day and its broader meaning. In school, we used to celebrate it in math class, which I always thought was pretty cool, given it was my birthday. And then I moved to Florida after high school and realized that not everyone knew what Pi Day was. They didn't celebrate it in school. And years since, just, I guess, realizing how many people have never heard of Pi Day, always just trying to raise that awareness. And now, being in 2023 in Web3, I've come across others globally who celebrate, as well as come across more who, again, have never heard of it. So there's quite the mixture. And for me, it's challenge accepted to make more people aware of Pi Day and the concept of pi itself. And being that it's 2023 and AI, artificial intelligence, has taken over, another technology that I've been diving into as it's infinitely fascinating. Been using ChatGPT to gain some perspective on writing, and Mid-Journey software to help me bring some of my novel characters to life, to take that next step. I asked ChatGPT to write an article about Pi Day. And I wanted to share what it came up with, as I think it sums up the day really well and hits a few points that really resonate with me. So this is from ChatGPT. Pi Day, celebrated annually on March 14th, is a holiday that honors the mathematical constant pi. Pi is the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter, and it's approximately equal to 3.14159. Pi Day is a celebration of math, science, and the wonder of the universe. And I also told ChatGPT that my birthday is on March 14th and my lifelong inspiration, Albert Einstein's birthday. So it also wrote from that perspective. For me, Pi Day is extra special because it's also my birthday. And not only that, but I share my birthday with none other than Albert Einstein himself. As someone who has always been fascinated by science and math, sharing a birthday with one of the greatest minds of all time is a true honor. Growing up, my family would bake a pie, usually apple or cherry, and we would have a special dinner to celebrate. As I got older, I started to appreciate the significance of the day even more. I began to see it not just as a celebration of math, but as a celebration of the human spirit, of discovery and exploration. Just want to pause here. Like that, that paragraph really blew my mind. Like asking this computer to write from my perspective, and this is what it comes up with, saying bake a pie, usually apple or cherry. That's from Chat GPT. Um, and it was a lot of the times. I remember Aunt Mary baking apple pies, and being from Michigan, having a lot of apple pies growing up. Um, but for a computer to write this, it just blew my mind. We would have a special dinner. Yeah. And as I got older, okay, this is again from the computer. As I got older, I started to appreciate the significance of the day even more, which is true, which is actually true. And I was saying that of like after leaving Michigan and going to Florida and just realizing how many people, and then moving to Atlanta and realizing, how many people have never heard of the Pi Day. Just taking that upon myself to raise this awareness. So for the computer to kind of know that and anticipate that, is pretty wild. And so, yeah, as a celebration of the human spirit of discovery and exploration, like that's why the title of this episode is Infinitely Further. And that's where I want to go. 2001: A Space Odyssey, the ending, just going further, going into that wormhole, going into that black hole, seeing what's on the other side, being a multi-planetary species, going further. Now back to what ChatGPT wrote. Albert Einstein was a shining example of this spirit. He was a scientist and a philosopher who dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the universe. His groundbreaking theories of relativity and his famous equation E equals mc squared revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos and paved the way for countless scientific discoveries. On Pi Day, I like to take a moment to reflect on the awe-inspiring beauty and complexity of the universe. From the tiniest subatomic particles to the vast expanse of the cosmos, there is so much to discover and explore. And as we celebrate Pi Day and the birthday of Albert Einstein, we are reminded of the power of human curiosity and the infinite possibilities that lie ahead. So whether you're a math enthusiast, a science buff, or simply someone who appreciates the wonder of the universe, I invite you to join me in celebrating Pi Day and the legacy of Albert Einstein. Happy Pi Day to all. How good is that? How good is that from ChatGPT? The wonder of the universe. Go infinitely further. Again, we've hit double-digit episodes now. And how did we do it? One moment at a time, one step at a time. And to quote ChatGPT, there is so much to discover and explore. Make the choice you have to make today, and only you alone can make. What will be positively progressive for you will be that for all you know, for all who know you. I feel there are certain labels that can cause a misperception. The word selfish is one. It's a broad term, meaning there are negative instances of being selfish and there are positive instances of being selfish. For example, I may ignore some event, some person in order to focus on putting out this podcast episode. But I want to provide value to anyone who may hear this. I want to provoke something, bring you out of your comfort zone, get you out of the easy routine, to go left every once in a while when you go right every day of your life. Venture down that path less taken, paintbrush of danger. What's the best that can happen? Double-digit episodes. And how did we do it? One choice at a time. How infinitely different would your life be if you had made one choice different? The butterfly effect. Go back to that last big life decision you had to make. The last time you were at a fork in the road and it was up to you to choose which way to go. What happened after that choice was made? What could have happened if you made a choice to go another way? Everything is a choice. When you don't feel you have a choice, are you really free? What is holding you back? How many of those are illusions? Meaning, how many of those illusory shackles will matter on that final breath? How fragile our atmosphere is. How our atmosphere has not only been this beneficial towards life, how quickly intelligent life started when the atmosphere became just right. The balance of oxygen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide became just right to make it habitable for single-celled organisms that became multi-celled organisms. And now conscious beings who can question their place inside this environment. Question what role they play. The universe has evolved a species that can question it, that can make discoveries about it. The universe lives through these beings. These beings would not be here if it weren't for the right environmental conditions. How many times over has this happened? And when will we see what else the universe has created? The choice is ours to get out of bed in the morning. Bills, the job, they cease to matter on that last heart tick. To what are you actually of value as a conscious being? And not just a number, not just a statistic on a sheet of paper, not just a social security number to collect an illusory currency from. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Think all of the happenings out there in the universe. So many live in this city and don't even bother to look up into the night sky to see the stars, the planets. All they see are neon lights, lights flashing on their phone, lights flashing in the window, endless distractions to the point we think it's real, that it actually matters. Even the art I create is a distraction in a way, both for the creator and the viewer. But it's an outlet for my soul. It may eventually end up in a black hole anyway, but I have hope that humanity will eventually be a multi-planetary species. We have to be. Eventually, as our sun will die, and before it does, it will grow increasingly hot, making our planet uninhabitable. We are nomadic at the end of the day. This will eventually happen, but we're also destroying our environment ourselves. This life is so fickle. It's as thin as the atmosphere that we overtly abuse every single day. We abuse and neglect, abuse and neglect, abuse and neglect, abuse and neglect. That's the cycle for so many things on this planet, even among our own species, but especially towards other species. We consider them to be lesser because we can dominate them. We can kill them at will, kill them for sport, kill them as a trophy to show others among our species how domineering we can be, to give credence to our selfish ego. There are negative instances of being selfish and positive ones. Being dominated by your ego without being conscious of it speaks to the much larger mental health crisis we are facing. Narcissism has skyrocketed in the past couple of decades. Why isn't psychology and sociology more thoroughly taught? Give these poor kids more insight about their lives and what we know about their brains so they can come to know themselves and their environment better. Why do we retroactively help kids instead of proactively helping them? We come to their aid after trauma, not always, but if it's available, it's retroactively after they face something traumatic. Give some help to the outliers, not to the general population. The amount of stress that the average kid faces in 2023 is really shocking. We put so much on them. And then other adults have the audacity to say, what's wrong with kids today? Back in my day, blah, 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 blah. Adults are actually blaming kids for how they act. Can you fucking imagine the ego? It comes down to the deflective ego, deflecting blame on everything and everyone else. It's the kid's fault for how they act. The fucking audacity to put that on them. And now we have this iPad generation, the digital pacifier being placed in front of their face for most of their waking day, then wonder why they're socially awkward, how they don't know how to handle their emotions. They get easily frustrated. It's a selfish act of the parent wanting to distract their child so they aren't bothered, so they can endlessly scroll on their device or work or whatever they have to do. I'm not a parent. I'm not going to speak too much on that. I'm only coming at it from the perspective of emotional intelligence and how these devices are drastically impacting these young, fragile minds that undergo so much growth in those early years. And part of this emotional intelligence is to be able to handle unpleasant feelings, anger, frustration, helplessness, sadness, embarrassment, shame, vulnerability. We need to listen. We have a choice to listen to the children. They're crying out for help in so many ways. We have to listen. We have to make that conscious choice to listen. We have to make more positively progressive actions. I mentioned this earlier, that narcissism has run rampant. And I think it's at the heart of all of the problems we face as a species. We're becoming a species with a lot of extremes, which is causing a huge balancing problem. We can't be so narcissistic that we can destroy this planet. No, we cannot. We can only make it uninhabitable for ourselves. There's positive selfish and there's negative selfish. We have it. If we are that selfish, let's feed into that and realize that It's not about saving the planet. It's about saving ourselves. The planet will still be here, orbiting the sun, making that daily rotation. It will still be doing that whether we're here or not. And you could arguably say with less of us, it would do better as a whole. We have to positively and progressively impact this planet, our environment, be positively selfish in this way, not narcissistically selfish, which we have seen. Narcissism is having billionaires being worshipped while a homeless person dies of famine outside their gated community. I say that and get scoffed at. They don't call it television programming for nothing. Repetition over and over and over again. Worshiping, worshiping, worshiping. Whether directly or indirectly. Same series with different actors over and over again. We become so engulfed now that we think this is sustainable, that this is the way it's always been and always will be. And I've tried to have these conversations about these things, and I feel it falls on deaf ears. Like there's like this film of delusion that wipes over their eyes and they hit you with a quick, yeah, that's crazy. What can we do? You know? And I know you get looked at as the outlier for saying this, but I do feel in the last 3 or 4 years here, there's been a conscious shift among more, to where I can feel more comfortable saying, and I feel that too, and that's a criticism of myself. What can I do? I bring it up, but what am I doing about it? We have a choice. We all have a choice to do one thing or do another. What I have done is try to speak on this allegorically in my novel series to bring attention to the problems we face as a species in a way that is shocking. I tried to shock the readers of Bleace. I feel that the only way to spark a change in someone, to get them to pay attention, to take some self-responsibility for your space and time in this universe, to get them to understand that the only valuable currency there is in the universe is the effect you have on others. The energy that you share, the potential energy stored inside the chemical makeup of every living creature in the universe, that, once recognized and harnessed, can be kinetically unleashed through positively positive creative acts that do not directly or indirectly harm others, i.e., writing, painting, acting, designing, animating, directing, cooking, miming, whatever your heart and soul desires, so that you can be so passionate about it, you can't help but be anything but genuine. We all have a story to tell. Be positively selfish. Make the choice to tell your story, however best fits you. You never know the impact you can have on someone's life. It may be someone you don't even know. They may not even be born yet. It may be 100 years later before that energy is felt. We only have a short, fickle life. Make the choice to recognize that and leave something behind. Let's do some living after we die, like Mick Jagger says. Leave something behind. It's tattooed on my chest. Before I can truly rest in peace, I must express every piece of my soul. I want to thank you for making the choice to listen to this podcast. There's nothing more valuable than your time, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart that you choose to take some of that time and share it with me. Let me know in the comments if these episodes are inspiring you to create. And if you have something to share, please let me know at Bleace NFT on all socials. I would love to see it and share it with the world. It's free to support artists. A like, comment, or a share goes a long way. Let's go infinitely further together, one step at a time. Appreciate you listening. Be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and share. It's a free way to pay it forward. Can always go further at bleace.com and sign up to our free newsletter. Let's go further together, one step at a time.